under the weather a bit. But I think there's a solution to that problem, Denisha. The next time that the clerks print Siobhan will sing. That Siobhan, I believe, is your mom's name, huh? Next time that error is made, Mom will sing. I have a hunch that Mom can sing. She's just hiding from us. Thank you so much, though. This afternoon, I will leave early today for program that they're having out at, I forgot the name of the church now. All of our schools today, New Rochelle, at the New Rochelle Church, all of our schools are there for the annual rally day. This afternoon, they are having a commissioning service. Quite a number of our teachers are going to be commissioned this afternoon. For those of you who are not familiar with the commissioning service, it's quite similar to an ordination service for some other officers. But for our teachers, it's called commissioning. So we'll go there this afternoon. And then I'll be... you're having an all-night prayer meeting tonight. Is that a women's thing? Pastors for the church. Okay. So. I was about to say that I'll be back tonight, but I wanted to verify that the men are welcomed. So I've been straightened out on this, guys. We ought to be at a prayer meeting tonight as well. So we'll be back later tonight sometime. You begin at 10 o'clock. The last time you had a prayer session that I attended, it was very well put together. It was a blessing. And so I believe we will have a wonderful time tonight. Those of you who need to take a nap, you do so at lunch. But you come prepared to spend the night tonight into the morning so that we can really agonize with God over a few things. I want to thank those of you who planned the activity, because we need to come apart from time to time to pray together. And there's this quotation we shared here some weeks ago, and I don't have it on my fingertip, but we can find it sometime and share it again, where Ellen White says that God will not provide certain things unless we ask. So when we come tonight, we'll do some asking, I assume, and have a wonderful time. Let's get to the message today. A burglar broke into a house one night, shone his flashlight around looking for valuables. When he picked up a CD player to place it into his sack, a strange, disembodied voice echoed from the dark, saying, "Jesus is watching you." He nearly jumped out of his skin, clicked his flashlight off, and froze. When he heard nothing for quite a bit, he shook his head, promised himself a vacation after the next big score, then clicked his light back on and began searching for more valuables. Just as he pulled the stereo out so that he could disconnect the wires, clear as a bell, he heard again, Jesus is watching you. Totally rattled, he shone his light around, frantically looking for the source of the voice. Finally, in the corner of the room, his flashlight beam came to rest on a parrot. "Did you say that?" he hissed at the parrot. "Yes," the parrot confessed. Then the parrot said to him, "I'm just trying to warn you." The burglar relaxed. "Warn me? Who do you think you are anyway?" Parrot replies, "My name is Moses." "Moses?" The burglar laughed. "What kind of stupid person would name his parrot Moses?" The bird promptly answered, "The same person who would name his Rottweiler Jesus." Jesus is watching you. The story ends there, but I assume the dog got him. But the message in the story this morning is the warning from the parrot. Jesus is watching you. I'm going to begin this morning where I usually end. Turn to your neighbor. Say, "Neighbor, neighbor, neighbor." Turn to your neighbor. Say, "Neighbor, Jesus is watching you." Turn to your other neighbor and say, "Other neighbor, Jesus is watching you." That's why I typically would end my sermon. When you hear that from me, you know that I'm done, huh? I'm just beginning today. I want to begin in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 10. King James Version puts it this way: "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive the things done in his body, according to that he hath done, whether it be good or bad." I sometimes like the court. Yes, sometimes. If it's all on TV, I like it. Judge Judy. That's my favorite one, right? Judge Joe Brown. I haven't seen Judge Joe Brown for a long time. Have you seen Divorce Court? I love the courthouse if it's on TV. I don't mind looking at TV, looking at the cases and enjoying myself. I've had the privilege, I say privilege, of being to court twice. Once when I was much younger, and the other quite recently. On both occasions, they had to do with trying to get my home back. I was a teenager when I left for college, and when I was done with school and I returned home, there was a man living in our house. My parents had long traveled, and the house was rented to a crazy man. And he decided he wouldn't leave. I went there to try to get him out so that I can move in, and long and short, I ended up in court. I showed up in court and I did not have a lawyer. The crazy man had his lawyer. And so they put me up on the stand, and the lawyer began to interrogate me on the stand in the presence of the judge. And he began to ask questions, and he asked, "Who are you?" I said, "I own this house. I'm the owner of the property." Then he wanted to know a little bit about my background. He knew what he was doing, and he began to ask, "Where do you work?" And I began to explain that, I pastor the church at whatever the church's name was. And then the lawyer, with a furious voice, looked at me and very angrily pointed at me, and he said to me, "Do you mean that a respectable man like you would want this innocent man to be out on the street while you are having a happy time? This man who is sick, you would want him out on the street? Don't tell me that a respectable man like you," did you say you're a pastor? And I sat there in that courtroom, and I thought to myself, life is just not fair. The judge looked at me, looked at the man, and gave him 6 months in the house. He said, "I'm going to give you 6 more months." I think you know that when we were moving from Connecticut back here, I kept telling you the stories along the way, and the tenants wouldn't leave, and we ended up in court. And I went down there to the court, and again there was this lady there. I showed up without a lawyer again. No, second time it happened, no lawyer. You know, they say that the man who represents himself has a fool for a client. Well, I showed up there at the court, and again, as the proceedings went on, I was asked some questions, and I answered the questions truthfully. I would say to my wife all the time at the house, you know, I only speak truth. So I answered the questions truthfully. And then when a certain question was asked me and I answered truthfully, we had actually moved into the basement of the house. Now, if, as in my case, we have a 2-family dwelling house, there's a family on the first floor, there's a family on the second floor, and I moved my family into the basement. I was breaking the law. And I went there to the court, and I was oblivious. I thought that it was my house, and that was my basement, and I could do whatever I wanted there. And so I had another encounter with the law and the judge. You know what happened as a result? The tenants were able to live there in my house. I had to pay all the bills for 8 months. And some of my friends tell me that you're lucky God was good to you because the judge could have fined you on top of that